Welcome to the Fiscal Physical Podcast. Join us each week as we sit down with the founder of Alchemy Wealth Management and author of Your Fiscal Physical, Ryan Nelson. Tune in to gain valuable insights and practical tips as we simplify complex financial concepts into digestible lessons. From budgeting to retirement planning, this podcast is your go-to resource for mastering financial literacy.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Fiscal Physical Podcast. My name is Aaron. I am here with Ryan Nelson, founder of Alchemy Wealth Management, and my co-host on this podcast. Ryan, how are you today on this beautiful day?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I'm excited to get into this week's topic. But before we do that, just want to thank all the listeners out there. Quick plug. I normally do at the end, but I want to make sure everybody sends us their topics. Let us know what you think of the podcast. If you got any topics you want us to cover, anything you want us to talk about, let us know. podcast@alchemywealth.com is the email address, or just shoot Ryan and myself a text, email if you guys have us. Just if we see you in person, you're like, hey, cover this. We'd love to get into it. But Ryan, you ready to get into today's topic?
Let's do it.
All right. So today we are going to talk about bankruptcy. Super fun topic. Has kind of a negative stigma around it, I think. But this question actually came from a loyal listener, Jeremiah. Call him Jer Bear. He was talking to him the other day, and he said, "You guys should do a topic on bankruptcy." And I was like, "Sure, why not, man? We're always looking for it." So, no recorded question or anything, but I wanted to thank Jeremiah for that. And let's dive into this, Ryan. I'm curious what your thoughts are. I mean, most people think about, when I say bankruptcy, they think, oh, it's absolutely a terrible thing. Things of like, but I don't really know if anybody has ever, looks at what the process actually is, or what actually goes into it, or what it's used for. I don't know. Have you ever seen the show The Office?
I've seen it. I didn't follow like every episode, but yeah.
There's an episode on this where the main character, Steve Carell, Michael Scott, he like has a ton of debt. Like they find out that he has like a ton of credit card debt and all this stuff, and they're like, well, you could just declare bankruptcy. And so he just like walks through the office and just yells really loud, "I declare bankruptcy." And they're like, "That's not how it works." He's like, "No, I declared it. It's done." And like he's like, and I was like, okay, like thinking about this topic, I was like, I think there's a little more that goes into it. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. And what do we got here on bankruptcy here, Ryan?
Yeah, there's probably a little more that goes into it, right? Yeah, I would say this would probably be a topic if it's of interest or you're considering this. Definitely, I would talk to a bankruptcy attorney. This is another one of those topics where I have like a little bit of knowledge on. Happy to share what I do know. By no means do I consider myself an expert. But yeah, let's give it a go. And like I said, I'd definitely consult a bankruptcy attorney to dive deeper if this is something that you're maybe seriously entertaining after this conversation.
I like it.
And so, like you mentioned, I think bankruptcy does have some negative connotations around it. And I think sometimes people are scared or maybe nervous to file for bankruptcy, which on one hand is probably good, right? It's not something we should necessarily be striving for.
Sure.
But on the other side, it's not necessarily representative of like a personal failure. And it can be a nice legal financial reset button for you. So it's kind of designed to stop the chaos and deal with debts in a more organized fashion, and then just help you rebuild and get back to a steady financial, like a position of financial strength. So what it can do is it can wipe out some certain types of debts, not all debts, but it can wipe out certain types of debts and then restructure them. Or so it can either wipe out some debts or restructure other debts into a payment plan. And it can also typically automatically stop the collection activity after you file. So if you have a bunch of debts that are in collections already and you're getting these phone calls and this pressure and it's overwhelming, by filing bankruptcy, it can automatically stop those phone calls you're getting and that negative pressure and overwhelm, maybe those feelings of overwhelm. So there's two types of bankruptcy. People might have heard Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. So Chapter 7 bankruptcy it's typically a faster bankruptcy, and it can wipe out a lot of types of unsecured debts. So we talked on a podcast previously, I think a couple of podcasts now. Do you remember what unsecured debt is versus secured debt by chance?
No, I'm going to be honest.
No worries.
Yeah,
no worries.
Yeah, no.
So an example, like your house or your car is an example of a secured debt. So again, if you don't make your house payment, the bank comes and takes your house, right?
Okay.
So it's a lot less risk for the bank because if you don't make your house payment, they get your house, your house, and they can liquidate your house.
With it.
Yep, exactly. Whereas again, like the example I've used in the past is if you go to Del Taco and you order something on your credit card and you don't pay that credit card bill, they can't come back and get your Del Taco, right?
Right.
So credit card debt's an example of unsecured debt because there is no collateral. Your house or your mortgage would be an example of secured debt. They have collateral, right? So that's the difference. So going back to these two different types of bankruptcy, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13. So Chapter 7 is the faster one that I'm talking about, and that can often wipe out a lot of types of unsecured debt. So like medical debt would be another form of unsecured debt or credit card debt. Whereas Chapter 13, you'd go through this court process. It can take multiple years. And then it's going to, so it can be useful if you have income, but you need more structure and you need to like effectively set up these payment plans. Chapter 13 can go through, it's a much longer process, but it can go through and help you restructure the debt in such a way that you can get caught up on it. Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely. Yep, absolutely makes sense. Yeah, so it's Chapter 7, Chapter 13. Okay.
Yep, cool.
Seems like we're missing some chapters in there, but I'm sure there's other ways.
Yeah, that's a funny. It would have been interesting to look that up. I wonder. That does make you think Chapter 1 through 6 and maybe 8 through 12 like exist at either some point or still do exist, just aren't used or aren't as commonly used.
I was like, interesting, huh?
Yeah, there'll be some research for the for the listeners.
For the listeners, let us know.
Yeah, do some research for us and then leave it in the comments. So then oftentimes the types of debts that can get wiped out are, like we said, right, unsecured debts. So things like credit cards, medical bills, personal loans, different types of collections. Oftentimes things that cannot be wiped out would be things like child support or alimony. Most student loans will not be wiped out during bankruptcy. Some tax debts and court fees or legal penalties are some examples of expenses or debts that wouldn't be wiped out.
So it's not just like a blank slate normally. I guess that's always one thing that I kind of think about. Oh, all your debt's gone if you do bankruptcy.
Yeah, not necessarily.
It's not necessarily like that. There's different stipulations of like what can, and depending on how you do it, like what's going to go away, what's going to stick with you regardless.
Right. So especially like if a business files bankruptcy, their situation is so complex and convoluted that typically like things aren't just getting like wiped clean.
Right.
Everything's getting restructured. But again, it can still help. Again, we kind of think of bankruptcy as this like reset button. It's a way to like reset things, like let you take a breath, get things restructured, and then put yourself in a position where you can kind of get caught up. So either have things wiped out to help you get caught up or restructured to help you get caught up. But then again, the idea is when you come out of this, so let's say 5-10 years later, you're now financially secure.
Sure.
That's the intent of this. But it's also not intended to be taken advantage of where you could just go, splurge, buy whatever you want. Oh, I filed for bankruptcy, whatever, and then I'm not going to pay it back. Oh, let me go buy all this other stuff. Oh, I'll file for bankruptcy again, right?
Sure.
So there are repercussions, and obviously that's why not everything will even just get wiped out.
Definitely.
But so some of the pros would be if you are getting all these calls from collectors and this constant pressure, those can get stopped when you go through bankruptcy. It can eliminate some debts and it will give you this path forward, like we're talking about, to get back into a financially strong or stable position. Some of the negatives, the one that most people are probably familiar with, is it's going to negatively affect your credit.
Sure.
So take a credit hit. That's what most people probably kind of think of. But then to your point, not all debts are just getting wiped clean, right?
Right.
So even if you file bankruptcy, this would be one of the reasons why you might want to consult a bankruptcy consultant or attorney to see where you stand on this. And, even by filing bankruptcy, you still may, the type of debt you have, you still may owe on it, just in a new restructured way. So it may be something for you to consider before filing bankruptcy, if it makes sense to take the credit impact, if you're still going to have to pay this back anyways, right? So these are going to be very personalized situations. There's going to be lots of paperwork that you're having to go through this bankruptcy process. So definitely you'd want to consult the specific professionals in that industry to discuss if it makes sense for you or not.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But if sometimes when you get into a position when you just can't really cover the payments, right? Like, and your budget's tight and you just can't make the debt payments anymore, that may be a trigger that, I need to start exploring bankruptcy. And if the debt is growing faster than your ability, or your debt's growing faster than your income or your ability to pay it down, then you can see how that could spiral in a negative way where you just couldn't ever theoretically get out from under it.
Right.
This would be a tool to help try to assist you in getting out from under it. That said, there's other resources that you might want to check or look into before exploring something like bankruptcy. So, if you owe, if somebody keeps calling you from collections and you owe, you can negotiate with those creditors directly or ask them about if they have any hardship programs. So if you have some medical debt, we've talked in the past where you might be able to negotiate directly with that hospital or if it's been passed over to collections, with the collections agency, or work through a payment program directly with them, and maybe not take as much of a credit hit, or I've even heard stories where you can negotiate with them to have it removed from your credit altogether if you make a payment. Yeah. So there'd be, steps to maybe take before just jumping straight into the bankruptcy path.
Sure. I think that's a good point. And really one thing to talk with the listeners about as well too is, it probably isn't step one bankruptcy. Sure. That, like it definitely seems like there's other options to explore. Potentially, obviously, everyone's situation's personal and such too, but this probably is going to be a little bit of a longer process to determine what works best for you. But it's like, it's one of the options that could be on the table though. But it definitely, just from going from this, it's like, it's not just you declare bankruptcy and you're gone. Yeah. Like there's a lot of other things you maybe could consider first, or even during it, like, I don't know, figure out the best way that works best for you, for sure. So
definitely.
Yeah.
So even though it wouldn't be your first step, and it may not be your preferred method, definitely there are some things you'd want to avoid. So like, you may not want, it may not be financially savvy of you to drain your like 401k at work to pay off a debt, right?
Sure, good point.
And so if you have some retirement savings and you say a 401k at work and you have a debt and you can't get out from under the debt, you might want to reach out to a bankruptcy attorney and explore what your options are. And you may be able to get out of that debt without having to drain all your retirement savings, so that then when you get on the other side of this, you still actually have a chance at having a successful retirement. So make sure, you don't necessarily want to just go drain your 401k, for example, or, go get like a high interest payday loan to cut, if you owe this medical debt and you can't make the payment, go get a high interest payday loan to cut, to kind of put a Band-Aid on it, get that paid off. And then you owe this payday mortgage company or payday loan company. So I'd say, definitely, while it may not be your first step, it should be a step in this process if you can't get out from under some of these debts, and it should be something that you do consider. I think it would be maybe it might be ignorant to not ever consider it,
right?
And it would also be ignorant to jump too eagerly into it, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's well said. Yeah.
But then let's pretend you go through this process. You file either Chapter 7 or Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and now you start getting on the other side of this, right? What we really wouldn't want to see you do is not change any of your actual habits. So if you let's say you were spending too much on your credit card, that's what got you into this problem. You file bankruptcy, and if the root cause of the problem is you were spending too much money on your credit card and you don't fix that, you're just going to be in the same exact position, right? Yep. So making sure you build a budget, you start an emergency fund, you build your credit back up, right? Addressing those root causes can make sure that you don't fall victim to your same mistakes twice.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting with this bankruptcy is that could be one example where the root cause is spending too much. And you could say, absolutely, like, go address the root causes. The other interesting thing with bankruptcy, though, is it's not always a result of something within your control. So neither you or I plan on having a big medical bill on our way home from this podcast, right? Knock on wood.
Right, yeah.
But we can't control if we do. And so sometimes there's somebody progressing down like, their let's say financial journey very like maturely, and on track, doing the right things, and something out of their control happens. They lose a job, they get a big medical bill, right? Like something happens that's outside of their control, and that could trigger the need for something like filing for bankruptcy. And how do you go back and address the root cause of that? There's not a lot of things you can do, right? So just know that some things are in your control, some things are not. Certainly address the things that are in your control to try to avoid and make sure that you know when you come out of this bankruptcy situation that you're on the right path again moving forward. Just knowing that also, again, some things are just out of your control.
Right. Yep. That's a good caveat there for sure.
Cool. So yeah, I think that's bankruptcy in a nutshell. I'd say, again, as you can tell, I know a little bit. There's a lot of probably gaps in my knowledge here as well. So make sure you address that address your concerns with a bankruptcy attorney. But hopefully that at least gives you a little bit of information to get started and know if it's even something worth digging deeper into. Yeah.
No, I think that was really well said there, Ryan, for sure. And I think I always love it when we can kind of tie different podcasts together as well too, or different messages. And I think about like with this, it's different, like, but I always say it's like, oh, it's apples and oranges, but they're from like different trees kind of thing, but they are fruit. They like, I think about the consolidation loan we talked about way back when. It's like, hey, this could be a tool depending on your situation to look into, but you know, if a lot of it comes back to that like root cause of these things, like what determined this? Was this something that was in your control? Like, and I think about it like this, like, oh, you know, if I rack up hundreds of $1,000s in credit card debt, I declare bankruptcy. And then I just do the same cycle again. Like, I mean, you're not really fixing the problem.
Exactly.
Here too. So I like it when those things kind of tie in like that. But I think this was a solid way to, you know, kind of just give a little bit of background there. But at the same time, like you said, talk to a qualified bankruptcy attorney. Obviously, if this is something you're considering. But awesome, Ryan. Anything else to add to this one before we pause here?
I mean, real quickly, you know, I guess you always want to sort of fix the problem yourself. Kind of to your point, if you rack up a bunch of credit card debt and you don't pay it off and you file bankruptcy, the system will kind of fix this for you. Yeah. So, you know, they won't offer you as much credit. Your credit will be, not as high, right? So then it's harder to go get a bunch of credit card debt. So it's like, you know, it's kind of like the issue may get almost fixed one way or the other. You want to be on the side of you fixing it as opposed to having the system fix it for you, so to speak. Gives you a lot more autonomy and you'll be in a much better position long term. So yeah, it's just something to think about.
Yeah, 100%. Awesome, man. Well, appreciate it, Ryan. Hope you guys learned something. We'll be right back on the other side of this. Everybody hang tight.
And now, to put the personal in personal finance.
Welcome back to this side of the Fiscal Physical Podcast. Still here with Mr. Ryan. And Ryan, I got a question for you today, my man. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Hopefully you're dialing in here, listeners, after that break here. Ryan, what is your favorite breakfast food? Breakfast food.
That's a tough one. Like I think I've mentioned on a previous podcast, breakfast is probably like my favorite meal. I love all breakfast foods, really.
Oh, really? Oh,
so yeah, it's tough. I think oftentimes at a restaurant, I'll get eggs Benedict.
Oh,
just because that's a little like more challenging to make. The hollandaise sauce goes bad. Like it's harder to poach an egg, so it's not something I like ever make for myself.
Right.
So oftentimes that's one of my go-tos at a restaurant is an eggs Benedict. That said, I don't know if it is my favorite. Again, I usually order it when I'm out just because I don't get it when I'm in. But like if it was just a single food, I guess I would probably just say egg. Like my favorite breakfast food is egg. But God, you can't go wrong with a nice French toast or some pancakes or why not all of the above?
Yeah, just get it all.
So I don't know. I guess I would say eggs. My go-to probably ordering out is going to be the eggs Benedict, but I love all breakfast foods. I'm not very picky. Or real quick, the God, what are they? The like maple syrup. Sausages. Those things are so good.
My gosh, the maple like flavored ones.
But anyways, what's yours?
It's so funny. I was going through this and I write these questions and I was like, and sometimes I'll just like sit and think. And I was thinking about this one for a really long time because I'm the exact same way. I go out to eat. I'm probably getting a chicken fried steak.
Oh yeah,
that's like if it's on the menu, I'm probably going to order that. I don't think I've ever made that at home.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've ever done that. So that's one of the reasons I get it. But also, at the same time, I love a good breakfast burrito.
Oh yeah,
I like making breakfast burritos at home too, and so like But when I go out, I don't normally get that because I get something else. But man, I love waffles too. I love pancakes, all these different things. But I'd probably say chicken fried steak because I just don't eat it at home.
Yeah.
But if I go out but I know it's probably going to be filling.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the side of hash browns with it too. So all these different things are just super yummy. But yeah, I love breakfast. I was thinking, I was like, man, I really do enjoy breakfast. It's
delicious.
People say it's the most important meal of the day. I was like, I don't know about that, but it might be one of the ones I enjoy the most.
Yeah. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
A nice like chorizo scramble or chorizo burrito. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just all those different ones. I'm like, cool. Plus, it's always nice if I'm going out. Like I don't have to cook it too. Like it's a big piece of it that I think like really helps me too. So awesome. Well, appreciate it, Ryan. Turn it over to listeners. Let us know what your favorite breakfast food is. What's your go-to? If you guys cook something up that's special to you, let me know, and we'll go from there. But for now, we'll go ahead and wrap this one up here. And thanks everyone for tuning in. And Ryan, I'll let you have the last word, my man.
As always, stay the course.
Thank you for joining us for the Fiscal Physical Podcast. Until next time, happy listening. And as always, stay the course. If you have a question or topic suggestions, please email us at podcast@alchemywealth.com. If you enjoyed today's discussion, subscribe to the podcast to ensure you never miss an episode. And consider leaving us a rating and review on your favorite platform. This helps other listeners like you find the show. For more resources, you can visit Alchemy Wealth Management's website at www.alchemywealth.com or find your Fiscal Physical, the book, on Amazon. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that personal finance is just that, personal. Please don't take anything we say as advice. The preceding content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not an offer or a solicitation, nor should it be construed or relied upon for tax, legal, or investment advice. It doesn't consider your personal financial situation or objectives and may not be suitable for you.